truth. Let's see if we did it right. Okay. All right. So you see, we have our profile picture displayed here, and we also have this function. So let's give it a little try. So we have this image here. You see that overlay and the loading. Yes. Yeah. So it falls back while it's loading. Now it's 100%. And if we go back here, we can see the new image here. All right. Hello, welcome back. So in this third part of the fourth episode, I meant to say, let's have a look at our prototype again. And in our prototype, so what we're going to implement now is this avatar here. So this avatar here, once the user taps on this avatar, it will pick an image from their device. So, or if they click on this change photo hints down here, it will also give them the clue to upload a new picture. So we're going to store the pictures in our Firebase storage and also have a live refresh and an overlay to show the upload progress on top of the picture. So, and that we're going to use the public URL to send this to Firestore, and we'll update our view model so the image swaps without a restart. So that the image can also swap immediately, and also save the timestamp to tell when the image was uploaded, and also to update this on our user customer details as well. So without further ado, let's get to it. So we'll go back to our Android Studio here. So we'll start from the ground up. First of all, we go to our customer repository here, so that we add some functions that we'll use to query our photo editor. So the functions we're going to add here, I still need to keep pushing the sign out down. So we'll add a suspend function here that we're going to call update profile picture, and that update profile picture URL is going to have a URL parameter which is going to be of type string, and also is going to return our request state like this, and we'll pass an empty unit to that. So that's the first function that we'll be needing. Then the second one is another suspend function we're going to call upload profile photo, and that's going to have a local URL because it's coming from the user's device, and we'll pass that to the type will be URI, Android Net URI. Then also on progress, because we want to show the user the progress of their upload, and that will return a unit of type float, because we're going to use float to show the percentage. So pass a unit, and this is going to also return our request state, but now of type string. Okay, so there's the two basic functions that we need to implement that. So that takes us now to our repo implementation, where we're going to flesh out these two functions together to make them receive the pictures once it's uploaded. Okay, so here let's use that option, implement the two members down here. So we start with updating our profile picture. So to update the profile picture URL, we'll assign this to try. Okay, so down here we're going to create a variable that we'll call our UID and assign it to get the current user ID, and also return the request state dot error. So if it's error, then we'll say that the user is not available, which means we couldn't query the user to find the actual user we're trying to update their profile photo URL. Okay, so then with that said, but if it's successful, then we call Firebase dot firestore dot collection, and we get the customer collection where we have an existing URL. Then dot document, and we'll pass inside the document our UID as the document part. Then we now update, and in that update we just update our photo. What did we call it? Profile photo URL. I think that's what we called it in our customer. Profile photo URL here. So that's what we need to update. Then we now pass the URL. So after that, we now call await. Then so to sync the Firebase auth photo, the one that we got from our user registration, we say var user is equal to Firebase auth dot get instance dot current user. Then if user is not null, then we should return a variable that we'll call request, and that request is assigned to the user profile change request. And here we pass our photo URI and we'll assign that to our URL dot to URI like this. So then we say user dot update profile, then we pass our request here and now call await. Then under that we say user dot reload, then we still await in case something else is running. So down here now in the outside try catch, we're going to call the catch and catch our exceptions. And in that exception, we'll call our request state dot error, and we'll pass a simple message here that says error while updating profile picture URL. So then pass the message that was returned, then e.message like this. So then here we're going to call another catch here, and let's use underscore here and say exception. And here we can just leave this catch as an empty string. Then down here we can call our request state dot success and pass a unit like this. Okay, so that's the function that we need to update our profile photo URL. So why is this complaining? Maybe I imported the wrong one, I guess. So let me delete that and import. Yeah, so that's the right one. All right, so that's that function completed. So the next thing is to flesh out this other function here, and to do that we'll start by cutting this out, and also let's assign this to try again, and let's add the catch before we can proceed so that it doesn't keep showing that error lines. So exception, and we call our request state dot error, and we pass the message upload failed, and we return the message that was given. Okay, so now in the body we're going to create another var called UID again, and that will get our current user ID dot get instance again. So this is our current user ID, or we can return the error if we couldn't find the user ID. So request state dot error, we'll pass another message and tell them that the user is not available again. So after that we now proceed further to say var storage. That's down the storage, our Firebase storage, where we'll save that picture that we uploaded. So our Firebase storage, we have not included that. Okay, so what we need to do is go to our Firebase here and add our Firebase Firestore, our cloud Firestore here. So if we add that, get started, we're already connected. So let's add the SDK so that we can access that dependency. So let's give this some time to sync. So I'm supposed to add this in a bracket, parentheses. All right, so that's it for now. Then now I guess we can import that. Still not giving me the option to import that. I've added the dependency. Why can't we import this yet? All right, that is still loading. Let's go back to our Firebase console and also add the cloud storage here. Where are you? Yeah, storage. So to do that, we need to upgrade to a billing plan to make this work. So I will do that and come back here, and we can now continue once I've added that bit, my card, to allow for the billing plan. So this, you can set the limit you want per day and also secure your application so that other people will not overwhelm this and you will take away all your money. So you should be careful with this. So let me do that, then I will come back and continue. So now I've set up the billing, and we can click on get started here and continue. Open in test mode. I want this to extend up to, okay, can edit the security rules later. So an unknown error occurred. So let's refresh this again. Let's do that one more time. Continue in test mode, create. Okay, finally we've created our storage. So let's go back to our database and see if this has been updated yet. So these have not been updated yet. So let me type that again and see if that will make any difference. So let's just like kind of ignore that and continue and see if that will come up later. Reference. So once that comes up, we'll be able to access all this. So now we're going to add a unique name to the data we're going to store, which is the image. So now let's create a variable and call that ref, which is like reference, and call our storage dot child, and inside that we're going to pass a string which we'll call user slash uid slash profile underscore. Then we pass our system dot current time milliseconds, so that it will save the current time that the image was stored. So then dot JPEG like this. So that will now be the unique name to identify each of the pictures that we upload so that it can be associated to a particular user, okay, in our database. So now we create another variable that we call the metadata, and we'll set that to storage metadata, which is, I believe, is from the Firebase storage. Okay, let's go back to our Gradle and see the storage that we added. Firebase Firestore, and go back to our tools again, check Firebase. So this is it here. So I don't know why that is not showing. Let's build our Gradle and see if that will help. Okay, doesn't give us the option to import. So that's adding the dependency now, even though we added it before. So I don't know why it took so long to get. Okay, it seems we're in the clear now. Not yet, not exactly. So I think we're experiencing some dependency issues. To tackle that, let me cut out this Firebase, everything about Firebase from here, and let's put it down here so that we can see everything related to Firebase. Yeah, so is there any other one I'm missing out? It seems I've got them all. So we have our Firebase auth, credential, Google Play Services, Google ID, Firebase Firestore, Firebase Storage KTS though. Okay, so I don't think this is the right storage. So let's take that out, and Firebase KTS, yeah, down here. Okay, we will deal with that update later, and we take this tally out. So let me add this. So I've copied this Firebase bomb. Let's add this because sometimes it has some of these libraries in there. Okay, so let's check our tools one more time because we have, let's sync this project and check our Firebase. We have authentication, the real-time database. Have I added this before? Let's add this as well. So this was added up here again. Let's cut that out and add it somewhere here. Close that gap. So now let's check for storage. So cloud storage for Firebase is not the same as cloud Firestore. So this is actually the one that we need to add the SDK for, and that's why we can't find that yet. So that's an oversight right there. So I think we should be in the clear once this finishes up, and I can cut this out again and just paste it down here so everything will be in one place again. All right, so let's go back here. I guess we'll see everything is in the clear. So now we can easily access our storage metadata. So metadata, yeah, so you see that's available now. So here we call our content type, and we assign that to, we only want image images, no videos or any other form of media files. So we just want images. Okay, then we can set our custom metadata to say uploaded by, so that we know who uploaded the picture. All these have to read to make sure we don't see, so that we can know when there is any surprises like from attacks or something like that, to know if and hold people accountable. Okay, so now after that we can now create a variable. We can create a variable here that we'll call task, and we'll assign that to our ref dot our put file, then local URL, and also the metadata. Okay, so that we can use that URL to attach that to our customer flow. So down here we'll now say task dot add on progress listener, and here we can call this a snapshot, and inside this we say var picture is equal to if snapshot dot total by count is greater than 0. So that means there is something. We'll say snapshot dot byte transferred dot to float, like this, divided by the snapshot dot total by byte count, else we should return 0f. This for the overlay. Okay, so down here then on progress we say our picture dot coercing, and we pass 0f and 1f. Okay, so now then we also call await for that task. Then now we can create another variable that we'll call our URL, and we'll assign that to our ref dot download URL dot await dot toString, that we can convert that picture, the download URL, to string. So now we can now say request state dot success, and we will pass our URL in there like this. So with this, our function to upload the profile photo is also complete. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to add this up to our view model, then move on from there to our UI. Okay, so moving on, let's go to let's create a function in our view model for picking for our photo profile editor. Why is it asking me to sync again? And we've done all this before. All right, so that's fine. So what we need to do now is to create a function in our view model that we'll call a function that we'll call pick and upload photo. Let's say upload photo and upload, like this. So our local URL, that's the type of parameter we need here, our URL, and we pass our URI, the Android Net URI. So then down here we call our view model scope dot launch, and inside first of all we'll upload to the storage with our progress. So here we'll create a photo state to collect the status of the upload. Then we need to create a photo update. So first of all, let's create, to collect that state, we need to create that photo state up here. So here we will call, up here let's create a var that we will call our photo state, and by mutable state of, then we pass our photo. So we pass our photo upload state, which we have not created. So let's add another data class here that we'll call our photo upload state, and here we're going to say var is uploading, and that's going to be a boolean, is either uploading or not. Then we set that to false initially, and also we have a var that we'll call progress, and we'll set that to float for our overlay, and we'll set that initially to 0. Then finally we have our error in case there is any error. So on this will return is of type string, and also we can pass null to that. Okay, so now here we call our photo upload state like this. So with that, then down here we can now call that photo upload state here, then pass is uploading, and set that to true because we've called that function. So then the progress we start from 0, an initial upload. So now we use a when statement and say when var result, we assign that to customer repository dot upload. We call that function upload profile photo, this one. Then inside there we'll pass our local URL, and we'll assign that to the local URL here. And so here we can use another lambda and say, which we will call upload progress. And here we'll now pass our photo state and assign that to photo state dot copy. And so we pass is uploading and we'll assign that to true. Then our progress now is assigned to the upload progress. So after that, now we can now say is request state dot success, and we return a val that we'll call URL and assign that to result dot data like this. Then now we need to persist the URL in Firestore. So we say when we say var uploaded is equal to customer repository dot upload profile photo URL, this one. Then we pass our URL, and now that we've passed our URL, we can now say is request state dot success again. So that means the photo URL was passed successfully. We should now return to update the screen state immediately so that we can swap the new picture with the old one, with the old picture with the new one, I'm supposed to say. So now then our screen state is equal to screen state dot copy. Then we pass our profile photo URL like this. Then we pass the new URL for the new picture. Then we call our photo state and assign that to our photo upload state like this. Then we pass is uploading, and we still set that to true because we've got our picture. So must have gotten up to certain percentage now. So now we pass our progress, and our progress will now be full 1F, will now be 100%. So error is now equal to null because that operation was successful. So after that, now we can say is request state error. In case that couldn't work, then error, we can now return a photo state and we'll assign that to our photo upload state. Then we pass error, and this will be uploaded dot whatever message was returned from that failed implementation, failed operation. So or else we should now return an empty unit like this. So then finally, for the outer when statement, we should say is request state dot error again, and we should return photo state and assign the request state dot this will be the photo upload state like this. Then we pass our error again, and here it will be the result dot message like this. So but else if everything failed, nothing was started, then we should now return empty unit. Okay, so that's the function, that particular function done. Now we need to call this function inside our profile screen. But before we do that, we need to create a component that we call our photo picker so that we style this out. Where are you? Okay, here you are. So to style this out, so before we can now call that in our profile screen and tie it up finally. So in our component in the profile section, let's create another composable file that we will call the profile photo editor. So the profile photo editor is profile photo editor like this. So here we're going to have some parameters, which is like our photo URL, and it's going to be of type string, and that could be null, and also is uploading, and that will be a boolean, and also progress, and that will be a float, and also on peak click, the function that's the picker. So on peak click, and that will be an empty unit. And also we can now add our famous modifier again. Right, so that's it. I think I've used semicolon again. Import modifier, that's it. So now in the body we need to style this. So we start with a box to create that rounded corner shape, and in this box we will call our modifier dot size. How large do we want this? Let's set to 120.dp. I guess that's the outer bounding box. We made it 132. This is not even squared. So before I click that, so that should be is squared now, and I need to align this to the center. Yeah, okay, so 136, let's use 136, 132, I mean, like this. Import DP, so that's the size, and we want this to clip to a circle shape, and also we want to set a background, and that background should be our surface light, and also we want to make it clickable as well. Then here we can say enabled, and we set that to the inverse of the uploading. Okay, whatever is it, if it's not uploading, it's not enabled. If it's uploading, it will be disabled. If it's not uploading, it's enabled. So that's what that's for. Then we can say content alignment. We want the picture to align to the center. Okay, so this is how we'll style the box, the containing box. Then in the body, we will now pass our icons, a fallback icon, or our async image if we have some. So here we say if photo URL dot is null or blank, then we should return an icon, which will be a fallback icon. So painter resource, we call our resources dot icon dot person, like this. So now we need a content description, and that will be user, let's call this user profile icon. Then after that, we can set a tint, and we assign that to our icon primary, which is black, and use our modifier and set our modifier to modifier dot size. We want to make that to be size 64.dp for the icon, so that it will cover a substantial space, so that we don't have some empty gaps. Then else, if it's not now, that means we have something from our user, and we pass our async image. So here we call our model, and in our model we call for the image request dot builder, and here we pass our local context dot current context to get a picker. So then data, we pass our photo URL, then also we use crossfade here, and we set that to true. Then we also call our build. Then after that, we can pass a content description, and we call the user profile picture, like this. Then we use our famous modifier again, always coming to our rescue, modifier dot match parent size, okay, because we want the picture to cover the whole box. Then content scale, we call content scale dot crop. Okay, so after that, let's add a placeholder. So we use our painter resource and add the person icon again as our placeholder dot person, like this. So now we also have an error, and that error we use our painter resource, and still now we're going to use the resource and use the close icon dot close. So now once there is an error, she just use the close icon to show that things didn't work out as planned, right? So now we can now set the upload overlay after that, and we'll do that down here. So down here we say if is uploading, then we should also add another box here. In that box we use our famous modifier. So we use our famous modifier and set that to match parent size, and also we want to set a background, and that background is going to be our color dot black, then copy. So in that copy, we want to set it to 0.45F so that it doesn't cover the image, but just give it that gray overlay. So now we have our content alignment, and our alignment we want to set that to center as well. Then after that, we can now call our column, and in that column we're going to pass, first of all, let's style our column and set some horizontal alignment, and alignment will be center horizontally, like this. So in the body of this column, we're going to call a circular progress indicator, like this. So in that circular progress indicator, so we'll call the deprecated one, and it will tell us. So here we're going to pass progress, and we set the progress with the lambda. We set that to progress dot coercing, and we pass our 0F and our 1F. So now we can now set the color, and that color we say progress photo editor or progress indicator default. Progress indicator defaults like this dot circular color. Okay, so then we can now add some stroke width, and that it will be progress default dot. Let's add a circular progress width as well. We can also set a track color, and in that track color the same progress indicator defaults dot, let's set a linear, actually let's set a circular color. Our circular track color is deprecated, so now let's say stroke cap our progress indicator default dot circular determinate stroke cap like this. Okay, so that's our circular progress indicator. Then after the circular progress indicator, let's add a spacer before we add our text. So modifier, assign that to modifier dot height, and we'll pass a dot dp like this. So here we say test, and we're going to pass a test, and here we add say our progress, and we multiply that by 100 because that's a float. Then dot 2 int. Okay, this is us. Let's put this in parentheses, then add this to int, yeah, like this. Then we now add our percentage marker here, string. So that's how we want the test to show up, so that it can show 100, 0, then 100%. So now let's set the color, and we're going to set this color to white because our background before, you remember, is black. So now we have to let's set our font size to font size dot small, right? So with that overlay can now appear on top of our box. So but why is our box complaining? This, we didn't add the box body, that's why. So cut this off. All right, so that's fine. So let's just add a comment here, and this will be upload overlay like this. So we've tackled that. The next thing we need to do, finish with this, we need to add this hint down here to make it look uniform. So now let's make this full screen again. So let's call that will be outside the circular box, which is down here. So we can call that change picture hint button. So now we use a box again to do that. So that box, let's style the box a bit. So in that box we have a modifier, and we'll assign that to a modifier dot, we want this to offset vertically by, let's say, 4.dp, okay, like this. Then we want it to align to the center. After that, alignment dot, we want to send it to the bottom center like this. So now we add our text button. So this text button is going to have on click, and here we call on pick click like this, and also enabled we say inverse of is uploading, so that the user cannot initiate the same action twice when something is already uploading. So here we add an icon using the painter resource, so source, and we set, I'm importing the wrong, this one dot icon dot, this is going to be camera. Do we have that icon? No. So let's go to our drawable again. We check for add new image asset, and we go to icons. No, I think we need the vector assets. That's where we'll find our icons. All right, so let's check here. This is okay. Let's use this one. So call it camera. So that's added. So we can go to our resource folder, and we can just add that anywhere here. Yeah, like that. So we go to our photo editor. I think we'll have a camera now. Yeah, so that's done. So now we add our content description. We'll call this camera icon, and let's add our tint, and we call this icon primary, which I think is black. So you can change the color as you wish, but I think I'm comfortable with black for now. So modifier equal to modifier dot width, and let's set that width to like 6 or 4.dp should be fine. All right, so the next thing is to add another text, which is going to be text that will say change photo. Should we make us for this initial cap. Yeah, that's not bad. So now we set the color of this text to text primary and the font size to font size dot regular, like this. Okay, so that's our photo editor, profile photo editor done. So it's now time to call this in our profile screen, which is here you are. So before we proceed with that, we should go to add our variable again to set up that picker. So here we'll create our variable. First of all, let's get our state as usual. The var, we'll call it photo state, and it's profile view model dot our photo state here. So now we can now call that photo state and use it for our picker. So var, we say photo picker equal to remember launcher for activity result, like this. So here we're going to pass a contract, and that contract is going to be our activity result, our activity results contract. Why is it not? Oh, I think I spelled that wrong. That's why it's not giving me the option. So activity result contract, yes, that's the one dot pick visual media, like this. So this is how we'll start our picker. Then we can give this a name to say URI, and here we say if URI is not null, then we should return our profile view model dot pick and upload photo, then pass our URI, like this. Okay, so that's it. So now if we prefer to store our file store URL, then we'll fall back to the Firebase auth photo URL that we have initially. So to do that, we say var auth photo URL is equal to remember, and we say Firebase auth dot get instance dot current user photo URL dot toString. So what we're trying to do here is, in case the user decides to delete their picture and not upload any picture, instead of having an empty profile photo, we should fall back to the original one we fetched from their Google account, so that will still look nice. So here we say var, we say resolved, we call this resolved photo URL, whichever one it is, if the user upload or if we're getting from there. Then we say profile photo URL dot taken, take unless. So now is is blank, or we can now return the auth photo URL. So we either take the profile picture URL which the user uploaded, or we can use the auth URL here. So that bit is done. So the next thing is now to add this in our screen ready, so that our profile form, we can pick that from our profile form. So to do that, we'll come down to on top of our profile form here, we can add a little spacer here so that it doesn't shoot off to the app bar. Spacer modifier.height, let's set that to 8.dp. So now we can now call our profile photo editor here. Then our photo URL, we can now pass the resolved photo URL like this, and also is uploading, we can pass our photo state dot is uploading. Then for the progress, we can now pass photo state dot progress. Then on pick click, we can also use a lambda and say photo picker dot launch, so that we can launch that. So then we call our pick visual media request, this one, and we pass our activity results contract, this one, dot pick visual media dot image only, because we only want image. Okay, so with that, I think we can say confidently that we'll have our profile picture picker ready when we launch our app. But there's no other way to find out than to launch our app again and see. This is the moment of truth. Let's see if we did it right. Okay. All right. So you see, we have our profile picture displayed here, and we also have this function. So let's give it a little try. So we have this image here. You see that overlay and the loading. Yes. Yeah. So it falls back while it's loading. Now it's 100%. And if we go back here, we can see the new image here. All right. So if we check everything everything works very fantastic. So if we go to our database storage now, if we reload this, we should have a file there. So now we have a document here. In that document, we have our profile. That's the unique name. It makes it longer to track, but that's still fine. So you see the image, the profile, and it was added and created this time. So is there any other? So uploaded by, that's the metadata. So the person with this user profile, which is VT. So if we go to our authentication, we'll see that this is the user that uploaded that picture. And if we go to our database for that user, which is this, now we have a new photo URL, the one from Firebase. This is the one from the storage, the one we just uploaded, Firebase storage. And this is the profile picture URL from their Google account. So we have both now. So that is why we can easily swap when we made that implementation around here for the result photo URL in case one image was deleted. So with this, I can confidently say that we've come to the end of our episode 4 because our implementation works perfectly as we expect it to, and everything looks great. So what we can do now is to look out for our episode 5, and this is something to be proud of because this is like production ready. So now in our episode 5, we are beginning to look into this our admin panel here, where we'll now introduce that admin process so that once admin logs in, they can now register some products and we can now visualize that here. So if you're excited, I hope you have subscribed, and I hope you do that as soon as you can, so that once this new episode comes out, then you can be the first to see it. And that episode is going to actually give our app the real shape, because we are going to begin to work on visualizing this so that once we create our admin can add products. We can now set all these up, and that will be very beautiful. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Cheers.